So I took over 100 blood markers that I had done and a draw through Function Health. 10 vials of blood from this arm, 10 vials of blood from this arm the next day. And in this video, I'm going to go through the first round of results that I have back so far. 76 different biomarkers have come back, what it means to me, and what my plan of action is going to be for this. My name's Dustin Strong. I'm a clinical holistic nutritionist who is obsessed with making sure that we are understanding what truly makes our body healthy in the best possible way, taking all the information we can in, and then sharing with you what I've learned. And as we learn more and more and more, sharing more and more information with you. So let's jump right into these biomarkers so you can see what results that I've had so far and what that means. So far, we've got these 76 biomarkers coming back, and 5 of them are out of range. And here's the thing is I feel really good every day. I get up with abundant energy. I go to the gym. I work all day feeling just great, never have any headaches or lack of energy, sleep really well. But I want to see, is there anything else that's creeping up? So clearly, so far I'm doing better, more good than bad, but let's get down into these. So rheumatoid factor is in range. That's fantastic. And we're looking at my blood, my hematocrit, hemoglobin. All of these are looking pretty darn good. And there's nothing even functionally that I would say I'm looking for more in here. Now, if you're watching this and you know more about this than I do, please leave a comment. Tell me that, you know what, Dustin, you missed this and you should look at that a little closer. And as I get into these blood markers that are out of range, I'm definitely going to be asking for your help. Now, here's the cool thing about Function Health. And if anybody's interested, you can reach out to Strong in Health, our clinic, and we'll set you up and we can get you a code. It goes so fast. I actually had these drawn at 11:20 a.m. on a Tuesday, and I had these results by Wednesday night. And so super fast and so efficient. It only took me 10 minutes to get in and out. I love that they give you a suggested action plan, and I'm going to go through that when we get to the bottom after everything that they've given me so far. Of course, this action plan is going to change as we get through this because more and more information is going to change the way we're looking at it. So my electrolytes are doing pretty darn good. I do a lot to keep my potassium levels where I want them to be. I do take some electrolytes every day, and I make sure that I do take calcium every night. It is the most abundant mineral in the body by far. There's more calcium in your body than all other minerals combined. So this is typically one of my top priorities, but getting it in a very, very bioavailable source, not calcium carbonate, which is what most supplements use, which is very hard for your body to utilize. But I actually use calcium lactate, which is a calcium salt. It's been shown to be about 1,000 times more bioavailable than calcium carbonate. I do a lot of cleansing, obviously, and I know that we have a lot of exposure to environmental toxins and heavy metals. So I'm encouraged to see that my lead levels are really, really great. They're low as they can be. We get exposed to lead in a lot of different ways. And I about once a quarter do take certain measures to help my body remove any excess heavy metals. Now, that includes supporting my parotid glands with something called parotid PMG, but also taking a zeolite, clinoptilolite clay, which is an adsorbent clay that helps capture these heavy metals and remove them from the body. Now, there's a lot of other things you can do to help with that. You know, there's going to be vitamin B is going to be involved, and vitamin C. And of course, I'm paying attention to those. So I'm encouraged to see that. Now, here's something that's interesting. We're currently in the middle of what's called a quademic. We have higher than normal levels of the norovirus, of coronavirus, of, let's see, influenza A, and there's even a new one called the human metapneumovirus. And I travel a lot and I'm exposed to a lot of people. So clearly my body is not entirely happy. I've got a little bit of basophils, eosinophils, the lymphocytes. These are the white blood cells. And actually, what's really cool is if you float over this, it tells you that it measures the amount of basophils in the blood relative to other white blood cells. So I'm kind of creeping up on these, meaning I should probably give a little attention. Now, eosinophils, in my experience, I have found are most commonly elevated when there is a parasite that is present. Now, when you eat sushi, if you're hanging out with dogs and they lick you, or there's so many different ways, but humans have a lot more exposure to parasites than they realize. And so seeing this above a 3 for me makes me want to incorporate a couple of things that I have seen in the past be very helpful in reducing these eosinophils back down and making sure that nothing is lingering. So one of those things is something called Zymex-2. It's an enzyme that you take in an empty stomach. And then there's a great herb called artemisinin. That is something I could talk about for days. But so I'm definitely going to be thinking about incorporating that for a short period of time to boost my immune system's ability to totally knock out whatever is poking that bear. Now, down here, you see that the basophils and the eosinophils, lymphocytes, they're all in range here. But this is enough for me to say, okay, even though I feel good, even though I'm not, coughing, sneezing, anything like that, that would make it look like my body's fighting something off. There is work happening in my body, and it is trying to manage something that is not ideal. So I want to give it some support there. Now, this is really interesting. I was like, whoa, what's going on with my kidneys? These are 8 biomarkers for kidney function, and all of these are looking really good down here, but this bun is up there. And I was like, what is going on at 26? I mean, usually 18 and below is where we want to have this. And luckily, I was looking over these with my very good friend, Chris, who is a personal trainer, and he thinks about these things. And even though I wasn't supposed to go to the gym before getting my blood drawn, I'm really trying to take measures to be as healthy as possible. And I did. And he pointed out, he says, Dustin, look here, physical activity, especially strenuous exercise, can cause temporary increase in BUN levels due to increased muscle breakdown and protein catabolism during exercise. There's even a National Institutes of Health research study that talks a little bit more about this in depth. So I'm not saying 100% that is why. I'm still going to put some attention on my kidneys. I find a lot of people that come in, I do want to make sure that they are giving more love to their kidneys. They're working really hard. I'm definitely drinking enough water, but what I'm going to add more in is some more asparagus. I actually eat asparagus, but I also have asparagus in a powdered form that I drink in a tea. And then I'm probably going to go through a round of something called Arginex, which is very, very helpful for detoxifying the kidneys. It's a standard process product. And all these products I'm mentioning, I'll leave a link below with more information on those. And again, anything in particular that jumps out, if you want more information about it, I'll make a whole video about that product for you. So let's continue down. The kidneys are calling me, but the liver. Now I'm really surprised, actually, at how beautiful all these markers are for my liver, because in the past, I am from Wisconsin, and over the holidays, when I visit family, there tends to be some alcohol involved. And you're going, shame, shame, you're a holistic nutritionist. You shouldn't touch that. You know better than that. But sometimes there are realistic things culturally that we do because it's just part of life. And I was expecting my liver to be a little more challenged after the holidays, but it does look like everything I'm doing is keeping it rocking and rolling. And again, what's really cool is you can hover above these and it tells you more about each of these. So I do encourage everybody to think about getting this done at least once. Now, this is the other one. Under male health, we got 9 biomarkers. Now, I want to draw your attention down to the bottom first, because we have sex hormone binding globulin, which is one that I look at for individuals who are worried about their testosterone levels. When this goes too high, it can be binding up the testosterone, and we want to find ways to help release it. Well, mine's fine. And here's the marker that most people get done for the prostate. It's just the prostate-specific antigen, or the PSA. It screens for tumors and monitors pre-existing prostate cancer. This test is not a diagnosis, but you'll see mine is exceedingly low. 0.4 is fantastic. But at the top, we have a different one here called prostate-specific antigen percentage free. And this was giving me a little bit of a flag. So let's take a look at this. Now, the range is you want it to be 25 and above or 25 and below. So I'm exactly at 25. So that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm definitely not worried about it, but it is something that makes me think, okay, what have I done for my prostate lately? I don't really do things specifically for it. I am trying to work through all of my organs in different support, but maybe it's time I give it a little love. And so there are 2 things that I'm going to incorporate in my nighttime protocol just to address this a little more. And then in 6 months, when I get to redraw for included in the cost of the initial, then I'll be able to see if what I've incorporated has in fact been able to totally bring this back into the green. And those 2 things are something called, now again, standard process, as a protomorphogen for the prostate. And that I found to be the most helpful for the PSA, but this percentage one, now this will be very interesting for me to learn whether or not it's going to be impacting that one. And the other thing is going to be an herbal combination that is from their sister company in Australia called called MediHerb, and the product's called Prostico, which is just a combination of nettle root, soft palmetto, creativa stem bark, and pumpkin seed oil. All things that are really helpful. I like to take it anyway because it does help with testosterone levels. There are two enzymes that convert testosterone either to estrogen or to DHT, dihydrotestosterone. Both of those require two different enzymes that are reduced by the Prostico. So that's pretty cool. Now, the other thing is when we're looking at prostate, one of the main things that can cause inflammation in the prostate can be excess estrogen. And that's the cool thing about this lab is that if I go down, and I'll come back to it, where is that one? It does show my estrogen levels somewhere. Oh, right here. They're in range, right? They're actually right in the middle of the range. So I don't have to take the time to chase after my concern about estrogen, even though estrogen dominance is a massive issue for a very large percentage of the population. It looks like what I'm doing so far is keeping that in a healthy range. The DHEA sulfide's in good range. So all the rest of these are looking really pretty darn good. But this is enough for me to say, maybe I should do something about this now, as opposed to waiting and then it becoming an issue. Now I'm almost 50. So, obviously this is the time to start thinking about that. Now, here's one that really caught my attention. Now, hemoglobin A1C at 5.5 is higher than I would like it to see it for myself. This is that percentage of that red blood cells that have glucose sticking to them. And I'm curious as to what's going on here. Now, Chinese medicine has suggested to me, because of my tongue having ridges around the edge, that I am experiencing some level of insulin resistance. And the fact that I had a fasting glucose of 104, this is where I'm starting to go, okay, clearly I need to put some attention on this. This is probably the most important piece of information that I've gotten back so far. Remember, I worked out that morning, so I burned out glucose. I was fasted, and I've been eating nearly a keto diet for a couple of weeks straight. So those are the things that are saying, well, you're probably not utilizing sugar as well as you could. Now, that makes me wonder what's going on with my pancreas. Do I need to support my pancreas a little bit more? The nutrient that I'm probably going to incorporate to help to see if that corrects this in 6 months is chromium. There's a product called Chromium Complex. The preferred mineral for the pancreas is chromium, and this is a trivalent chromium that I'd be taking, not chromium picolinate. This is a whole food version, and it also has vitamin B in it. There's an herb called gymnema that will be helpful for the pancreas. And I've shared this in another video about the pancreas specifically, but these eosinophils being elevated up here could be an indication that that parasite has been going after my pancreas, which is something that we have found is very common in a lot of people. And that's in a whole other video. You can check that one out where I go into the research of the parasites and the pancreas. So I'm wondering if that is a connection going on here. I'm going to address both of those and see if that gets where it's supposed to be. Now, blood nutrient levels, when it comes to calcium and iron and a lot of these, sometimes it's great to see it in the blood, but I'm not saying it's the absolute end all be all in helping you understand whether you have appropriate levels of these. But it is helpful to see this information incorporated into everything. Again, calcium I talked a lot about before. Iron's looking good. Homocysteine. Now, I'll probably do a whole different video about homocysteine by itself. I actually like to see it a little bit lower. It can get converted in many ways. You actually use homocysteine to create glutathione, which is your master antioxidant in your body. So this could be a little elevated because my body's trying to bring more resources to glutathione, which means I may need a little more vitamin B6 to help with the conversions, getting it down there. But this is, again, another interesting thing, a lot more information to come on that. And vitamin D, now I could talk about this for a while too. Lovely, right in the middle of the range there at 60. And I will confess, over the years, I have been resistant to taking a lot of vitamin D because I want to get it from the sun. But the realistic answer is that I'm not getting outside and getting enough sun exposure for me to get the best vitamin D. So over the past few weeks, I had been increasing my vitamin D supplementation. And I'm happy to see that it's right in the middle. And actually, I feel great. And I can, again, talk to you more about the levels of vitamin D I've been taking, but I have been taking it at higher levels than I used to. My pancreas is looking good as far as production of these enzymes, the amylases and the lipases. So that's good to know. So it's just maybe more we have to look at the glucose tolerance factor and getting that glucose into the cell. We'll see. Stress and aging looking good, DHEA. And again, if you click through these, it gives you even more information about all of these, which is really beautiful and such a wealth of information. Now, here's one that might catch your eye. Wholly interesting. Thyroid stimulating hormone at 13.5. And you might go, oh my God, this guy needs thyroid medication. This is crazy. I haven't seen thyroid stimulating hormone that high. And this is really all that they need to give you. They need to test before they can give you a synthetic thyroid hormone, which is one of the top sold medications for the last 20 years. But when they give you that hormone, when they give you that medication, it's a synthetic version of T4. So that's why I love that I was able to see my T4. Oh my gosh, is my T4 low? Is that the issue? No. So I have plenty of T4. So taking a synthetic T4 is not necessarily going to make any difference in helping this, right? Before we put more of this in the body, we should definitely see where it is. And my T4 is great. And the active form as well. That's also fine. In fact, I'm in the middle of finishing my thyroid seminar slides. I'll be teaching in a month on the East Coast. So I'll be sharing more and more information, getting deep into this. But this is curious, right? No thyroid antibodies. But why is this one going? Now, that is a pituitary hormone. And so one of the things I'll probably be doing is supporting my pituitary a little bit more. The key mineral for the pituitary is manganese. Pituitrophin PMG is the protein. And the vitamins are vitamin E. I would say maybe I'm a little low on vitamin E, and I can check that against the heart sound recording. And that makes some sense. But one other very important piece that I always share people with, I don't have the book here with me right now, but the book is called Iodine and Why You Need It. I do take a fair amount of iodine daily for many, many reasons. And iodine can increase thyroid stimulating hormone. There's a whole page in Dr. Brownstein's book that talks about that. And so I'm wondering if that's what's going on. But again, in 6 months, I'll be able to get some great information and find out. And I know you're all worried about my urine. The 11 biomarkers in urine all look pretty darn good. But curiously, negative for ketones. Now, what's going on? This is going to be the fun thing that I'm going to have to figure out after being basically in a keto diet for a couple of weeks. What's going on? Why am I not have that? So a lot more to come. Obviously, there are more biomarkers. So I'm going to do a part 2 on this. But if any of you find this interesting, of course, just give us a comment, let us know. Let's go through the action plan so far, actually, too. I love this. It's telling me to eat more fish. I do love fish. Sardines, absolutely. It says it's going to improve my glucose, the sardines, and the TSH. So I guess I need to get back to eating more sardines. I do try to eat them at least once a week. Salmon, saying the same thing. Mackerel says the same thing. So these fish, and this is one of the things I encourage people all the time, is try to eat fish at least 5 days a week. And full disclosure, I actually haven't been. I haven't been getting great sources of these as consistently as I think is ideal. It even gives you, look at this, all of these different food options. This is wonderful as it goes down. But I want to go back to supplements. It's interesting that they're offering these supplement suggestions. Now, again, if you get these results, and I wouldn't just run out and buy all these supplements, you want to kind of take this information and look at it in conjunction with what's going on in your life. Benfotiamine is getting a lot of attention lately. It's a form of vitamin B, and actually I had been supplementing it for a little bit. Gymnema is something that I mentioned earlier. Incredible herb that shows long-term use actually helping regenerate beta cell function of the pancreas, which is pretty cool. Berberine getting a ton of attention, and that is something that I've talked to a lot of people about. In fact, I do definitely mention in my pancreas video. But quality is going to be important too. Before you run out and grab any of these from your local store, quality of herbs especially are going to be very different when you get them from Australia versus America. So just keep that in mind. They have a higher level of scrutiny that they have to pass. Bitter melon and cinnamon. So these are all going to be blood sugar things. They're mentioning my glucose being a little high. There's another great product that I would probably incorporate for a little while called Meta Ball Complex from MediHerb, which does have bitter melon in it. Cinnamon, now a very specific form of cinnamon called cinnamon verum, which is actually the only form of it that has truly shown to help with glucose levels. It also has black cumin seed in it, which is the seed of immortality, and fenugreek. So I'm probably going to incorporate that with the chromium. I've already talked about that. So surprised that magnesium is on there. I definitely take a lot of whole food magnesium, and it looked good up there. And I don't think this is necessarily something I need to add more of. Of course, multivitamin is interesting. I do take tuna oil every day and cod liver oil. So I'm pretty sure, and I do check my omega-3 fatty acid index. And so I know that this isn't the case, that I need to do more of this one. And of course, we saw my vitamin D was 60. So I don't know why they would be suggesting D3, but that may have something to do with the blood sugar as well. All right, well, thanks for watching, everybody. I hope this is interesting. I'm going to definitely, when I get the more results, go to part 2 and break those down and make sure that I'm giving you, bearing all my secrets, giving you all of everything, so you know what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong, and hopefully you can help me do better, and hopefully this information will help you even become healthier as well. All right, have a great day, and hopefully I will be talking to you soon.